Well, but is it always commendable to use restraint, or is restraint sometimes an expression of cowardice or lack of conviction?
It can be both. First of all, one may not show restraint in order to absorb evil. Take, for example, turning the other cheek. If there are 10 men in a line, and I preach hate to them, and say, you must destroy your brother, and one man turns and strikes his neighbor, 2 strikes 3, when will it ever stop? It will stop only at a point when one man turns around and absorbs the evil. In that sense, restraint can absorb evil. From another point of view, restraint does not absorb evil. It sometimes may increase it. The crime certainly on our streets today, the turn of law by which there is compassion shown more for the mugger than for the mugged, more for the one who does the violence than for the victim. This is a kind of restraint which is not commendable and which I fear is bringing some trouble to our nation.
Well, let me ask you, sir, if I may, in that connection, to what extent does a nation feel a corporate Christian obligation to step in order to defend one's brother, using the metaphor national terms? Suppose I put it this way. We suffer in America, I think it is accurate to say, some kind of a trauma as a result of our failure to go to the help of the Jewish people in Germany, who, as a result of our defective reflexes, were practically wiped out as a people. Now, it seems to me that 2 things are plain from that experience. 1, that we cannot bring them back to life. And 2, that the purpose of reminding ourselves about Buchenwald and the rest of it was to keep the conscience from going to sleep again. Now, if there is evidence that a genocide is continuing in other parts of the world, is this something concerning which we ought to be more active? Ralph Hawkworth writes a very successful play in Broadway which criticizes Pope Pius XII for his delinquency, I think historically inaccurate, in not moving faster to mobilize sentiment in behalf of a rescue mission to the Jewish people in Germany. Now, will somebody be writing a play about us or about the present Pope for failure to mobilize sentiment to rescue, for instance, the Christians who are being exterminated in China?
Yes, but given genocide, no, I should not say that ecumenism was the cause of the erosion. Certainly the zeitgeist is partly the cause, and very much the cause. From one point of view, Mr. Buckley, there probably was never before as much faith as there is today. Now, I'm putting faith in quotation marks. When God is disposed of, the gods arise. Faith today is taking the form of superstition. We have 2,200 newspapers, I believe, daily newspapers in the United States. 1,700 of them carry astrological columns. Was there ever such faith before in the stars as there is now? And as Shakespeare said, think of the new faiths that are arising without any basis of credibility. As Shakespeare says, what damned error but some sober brow will bless it and approve it with the text. And so, on the one side, faith, without quotes, is indeed declining, partly on account of the zeitgeist. And on the other hand, it is increasing. The gods are multiplying. We have almost polytheism instead of monotheism.
Well, could it be though that the singular attraction of the Catholic Church over the years, namely its dogmatic constancy has now been so diluted as to cease to be singularly appealing to those people who were looking for a transcendent mooring, and had, over a period of centuries, found it in the Catholic Church in a way that they were able to justify rationally. Is this something that was surrendered during the 60s as a result of the ecumenical passions?
I will arrive at your conclusion from a different premise.
It's an old trick.
Yes, it could in part. But something to remember, Miss, is that the world is always on a teeter-totter. And just as in literature, we had one moment the classicism of Dryden, then we got into the romanticism of the late poets. So in religion, we had too much emphasis on the individual, complete neglect of the community. Today we got a cry for community. We must all get together, boys and girls. And this indeed has to be emphasized. Now it is being so emphasized. We've got to keep balance. That the individual is alone, too. That he's also got to save his own soul, as well as saving the community. That while there must be much more relevance in the world, we also have to have considerable irrelevance. Because there are some things we think about in our own heart that have relations to the transcendent. And there must be a place for this. We cannot so emphasize the community that we're like a drop of water in a glass of wine, absorbed in even a spiritual kind of totalitarianism. And while this has to be stressed, I'm only saying, watch the balance. Let's not go overboard with communism and forget there's such a thing as the individual.